Are you tired of the same old pro wrestling? Then check out the amazing action on Powerslam.tv, the biggest indie pro wrestling channel in the world. Get over 4,000 hours of the best pro wrestling events from over 110 of the biggest names in the industry from over 15 countries around the globe. Get your free trial today at Powerslam.tv.
This is Jordan Grace, and you're listening to the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
BWB, this is One Nation Radio. You better get it right. Rich Latta, James Boyd came to give them life. The Blackest Wrestling Podcast has come to kick all ass and drop it 6 feet if they kicking trash. Word, let me welcome y'all to something different. And if you dig it, man, you should let some friends listen. We be getting it in, this on the regular, dude. Ravish and flow, but this shit rule. See, James don't rap, so I had to break it down. The whole network, man, we coming for the crown. Raps in the columns, I keep them both covered. Making the beats too, so the listeners can bump it. Hit us with the rating, yeah, I'm saying it's a 5. Before you hit it, talk, bob your head side to side. It's One Nation Radio, and this is the beginning. It's Rich, and I'm here with James. It's time to listen to One Nation.
You got to unleash the power of the pyramid.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
This is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fans, and that's all that counts to me. Goodbye and good night. Bang.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to One Nation Radio. The date is July 14th. I'm pulling the Rich thing where I have to take time to wait for it, but tables have turned. I'm doing the host duty. Rich is out in Tampa, heading back home, so to get this out in a proper amount of time, we're doing it over his cell phone, so if you hear any kind of weird audio issues, that's his fault. Blame him. Direct all your tweets and anger at him, that guy. What's going on, Rich?
Chilling, man. I'm also driving as well, so if there's any additional sounds from the road or the air conditioning, I apologize in advance.
All right.
But,
I can say that.
And if you don't like it, really, you can just kiss my ass, you know.
What I was gonna say is, don't come out here starting out like the beginning of the Razor Ramon entrance music. Don't be out here on the Big Sean Swerve. Okay. 10-2. Yeah. So tonight we're doing a post-show edition of, or a post-show review of Extreme Rules, and we're also gonna do Fight for the Fallen at the end of that, and then we might talk about any bits of the G1 that we've seen so far today. Rich, you said that you're up to date so far on the G1?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
G1's awesome so far.
Okay. Well, I know that you're going to do the show in a couple days with Jeremy and Josh, or with just Josh, or with just Jeremy. I can't remember which one it was. You know, they're like a group anyway. They're like No ID and Kanye. So, whichever part of that faction that you're going to be doing that with, we're going to keep it short so you can, have most of your stuff to talk about then, because you'll be able to add to it with more context with the other show that's in a couple hours. But first, let's start off with your opening thoughts on Extreme Rules.
So, the show felt really long, just like AEW Fight for the Fallen felt really long. I think it felt kind of like the same length, if I'm not mistaken. But a lot of the show was just there. They put the title back on Brock. I'm like, okay, whatever, because, me, I've written off the Universal title as something to care about years ago at this point. So I try to think of it as a comedy belt. And once you do that, the Universal title will make a lot more sense. But yeah, it was an all right show. Like, I thought Black and Cesaro was good. I was disappointed by Ricochet and Styles, and the opener was better than it, was kind of, like what our expectations were for it.
Yeah.
So it was a long show. It's just, there's just certain things on the show. I thought a lot of them could have achieved a little higher, but it is what it is.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, for me, I thought it was a one thumb up show. They did a lot of stuff that I just like, why, but they also did a lot of stuff that, you know, we talked about it before we even got, or maybe off air we talked about this. Like, there were so many matchups on this card that it was like, oh, they can go out there and have 3.5 stars, and a lot of them went out there and did that. And, you know, I haven't watched the TV, and I feel like, for me anyway, me not watching TV has helped my viewing experience on the product. Like, I don't have to get bogged down in the bullshit. Like, I hear people give me the Cliff Notes version as opposed to me having to just, you know, burn out by watching all the time involved in it, and flews my mind. I flip my lid when they, you know, tell story X and then they end up diverging down path Y. So, whatever.
I feel blessed. I feel blessed for not having dedicated my energy to following those storylines and getting a lot of those results. Had I been invested in this Ricochet AJ Styles thing where I saw the 2 matches and then was like, oh man, I can't wait for the pay-per-view, and then they hand us this mid-match and I'm like, oh, I would have been real furious. The Undertaker logically showing up to help Roman Reigns, I'm glad I saw it in the video package rather than in real time. And it's just, we'll get to it when we talk about that, but the audacity of these people to keep Shane McMahon unbeaten for months just so the Undertaker can beat him. Not Roman Reigns, not The Miz, who they've killed completely as a babyface. None of these people, but the Undertaker. Boy.
Yeah, real wild. Yeah, so, do you want to start with do you watch the pre-show? Because I did not watch the pre-show, because I mean...
I saw the Drew Gulak and Tony Nese match. It was okay. You know,
okay.
3 1/4, something like that.
Okay.
I missed the apparently Shinsuke Nakamura is now the Intercontinental Champion.
What?
For him. They pulled him out of mothballs and gave him the belt. You know, Finn Balor's only been seen like once since WrestleMania, or twice since WrestleMania.
Right.
They take the belt off him and give it to another dude they weren't using. Nakamura looks all kind of weird. He's wrestling with that bodysuit on. It's like, I don't even see the point of putting the IC title on him, but whatever.
Okay,
Something to do, I guess.
Okay, so is this another person where, oh yeah, you were in a tag team and then person doesn't want to be here or is disgruntled or what have you, and we're going to give the person that stayed around for whatever reason, like, the spike push?
Yes.
Okay, best of luck with that. Alright, so let's just move on to the main card. Extreme Rules tag match between Undertaker and Roman Reigns against Drew McIntyre and Shane McMahon. How do I say this? Match starts off with Roman in the ring. Eventually it gets to Undertaker. Undertaker hits all the greatest hits. Eventually it breaks into them down on the side, or them outside and doing spots, and they end up laying out Undertaker and laying out Roman. So then Shane can get his stunts in, and then eventually the babyface is overcome and they end up winning. The crowd was really super duper into it. Undertaker, this is the best Undertaker match in Jesus, probably WrestleMania 29. No, so I'm sorry, since the Lesnar match is 2015.
Yeah.
So, like, it's been a long time. And you know, I thought they did a really good job with showing off Undertaker being able to only do certain things, and then like hiding the fact that he can't do anything else except for like the greatest hits. Like, he can do old school, he can do, you know, the leg drop on the apron, he could do he could do snake eyes in the big boot, he could do the tombstone and choke slams. There's not much, and he can do striking. That's it. Or he can give you some crush people in the corner with charges, but that's it. He's done.
In a vacuum, it's largely an inoffensive tag match or whatever. But like when, like, you know how they are in WWE, you know how much time they spend into promoting this, like it was a main event match and everything, and then you get to the show, it's on first. So it kind of creates a weird, structure for the card, because it's like, all right, what's gonna follow it. And I think a lot of it struggled throughout then. Of course, I was struggling with what we were talking about on Thursday with not only this match but the main event. I'm like, there's no holds barred. Why are they tagging and like following rules and standing on the apron and shit? Like, I don't know. Like, I thought it was cool. I thought Undertaker like looked mobile, which he hasn't looked in a while. He still looks old as dirt.
Yes.
Like,
did you notice?
And when I saw it, and it really just felt like the definitive end, I was like, okay, now Roman can go get back in the title picture. And Lord, did we ever make that easy for him to jump right the fuck back in at the end of the night. But
I mean, I don't know. I mean, because there were parts during this show where, you know, they got Undertaker in there before they started breaking out to going down to outside the ring. They got into parts where Undertaker got in twice, and at one of the points they were like, "We want." After Undertaker went into the first time, and it was time for it to build up towards a hot tag. All of a sudden, it was the "We want Taker" chance. It's like, that's not good for Roman. So that happened, and then you have for the last two matches of the show, the "We want Brock, no we don't" back and forth chance, which is like, all right. If you want to do this with Roman and Brock again, I think it's going to backfire.
That's the only place they ever go. Like, this is the story of this company, the only one that they have, and
here I go again.
Don't even have that.
Just here I go again on my own. Down the road I've ever known. All right.
Like, and for the finish, it felt like they couldn't even get that right because the wrong guy got the pin. If they want to take Undertaker and Drew McIntyre forward, they could have fought off to the back, and Shane McMahon could have been left there with this guy who's been tormenting he's been tormented by for months, and Roman could destroy Shane McMahon and get rid of him, but they couldn't even do that right. So, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's not over. Like, I think it could very well turn into a, Heyman and Shane and Brock, and, it turns to, the authority figure never dies. It only, it's much like it's much like institutional racism. It's highly adaptable. It's highly adaptable.
It'll reinvent itself in modern form.
Yes. So, I mean, any other thoughts on that, or you want to move on?
I'm good. The best in the world is finally lost.
Oh my God.
After months.
Yeah. Oh, I will say the thing. I do like the camera setup they had where WWE, for all the crowd we give them, like, they do when you notice the pattern, you do appreciate when they kind of realize that they do have a pattern and how to get around their own pattern. So at the end of the match, like, he has Shane dead to rights Undertaker, and they had already laid out Roman out on the towards the inner side of the floor. So all of a sudden you're like, where's Drew? Drew's gonna come through and Claymore kick his face off, and they're gonna win, aren't they? Right? So you see, all of a sudden they do a zoom in, so you already know what's gonna happen the second they because they showed you McIntyre coming up behind him. So he goes for the Claymore, and then all of a sudden you're like, okay, so Roman's gonna spear him. Sure enough, spear him, pin him, huge, and then you're able to do the choke slams or whatever, or tombstone or whatever. So then and that was a finish. I thought it was a nice touch. So, but moving on, we can go to the Raw tag titles. The Revival versus the Usos. I thought that this was a very well wrestled professional match, but it had to. It struggled.
You know what that sounds like code for?
What?
That sounds like code for 3 1/4. Life.
I thought it was 3.5. I thought it was 3.5. I thought the issue with it was that it had to follow a match that broke out into a tornado tag match with weapons and shit. So it's like you had no chance. So when the crowd doesn't react to it for most of the match, even though it's all good stuff, were you expecting the crowd to care about all the Revivals cheating after they just saw Shane jump do coast to coast on the Undertaker with the fucking trash can, or try to do the dive onto the table? Like, of course not. It was set up to fail.
Yeah, like they literally a tag team match and then another tag team match with like lesser stakes, lesser promoted time, and this is WWE thinking they're ahead of the curve
and also the other factor. One team is a team full of people that they believe in and think are credible as stars. The other are a bunch of jabrones that have belts.
Yeah, and also, this is WWE thinking they're ahead of the curve and like thinking they have to take people on a roller coaster and everything like that. And it's like they shot their wad off first, and I don't know if they got the crowd back all night.
No, they didn't. And I think the one thing is what they were trying to go for is we can't have that come on at the 9 o'clock spot like we normally would in previous years, because a lot of these matches that we put in these 9 o'clock spots have died a death, and then it ruins the last half or the last third of the card. Like, think of Seth versus Triple H at WrestleMania 33. Think of trying to think of some other ones that have died a death. Like, think of different Seth Rollins matches that have died in the mid card or died past 10, or have died like past 9:30, right? So I think their whole thing was like, we can't afford that, put it on first. It was like, okay, fine. And it worked out for the money match, and the whole idea is the money, we went into this thinking like the money match are going to stink, and if this saved one of the money matches, all right. But, it didn't do much for the rest of the card. Anything you want to mention? Anyone you want to talk about the decision that the rival just beat the Usos or anything, or do you want to see them wrestle more, or what?
I could care less. Like I think the Revival, I think WWE does things to like fuck with them so they don't have great matches in a lot of these spots, and it was just regular. I guess since the New Day won, the Usos weren't allowed to win, so one of them had to lose.
He's like, we can't have the two most dominant tag matches of the last decade just win on the same night, right?
Right.
Okay, so after this, we get Aleister Black versus Cesaro.
Yes, sir.
I gotta say, this is one of my favorite matches of the weekend. It was so great. It reminded you that Cesaro is awesome and he does all the stuff that you want him to do. Like, he's incredible. Like, he is one of the most complete performers in all of professional wrestling, and then you forget that at times because of the bar and his his misfirings at times over his career in WWE. But you remember, you put him in a ring with another person that's talented and you give them time and you get the fuck out of the way. Like, he has something for you. Always. So the story of the match is that Aleister is throwing strikes to Cesaro's knees as Cesaro is throwing him about at different points in time. He also, at certain points, he just hits various strikes because, he, as I think Graves called it, he's an 8-point striker. 2 fists, 2 elbows, 2 knees, 2 feet. So as he's taking out Cesaro's left leg with kicks every so often, all of a sudden Cesaro throws him about. Aleister ends up getting him outside to the floor. He hits the moonsault off of the second turnbuckle. They get back in there. Cesaro throws him about some more. Then Aleister ends up getting a Meteora. Later on in the match, he goes for another Meteora, but this time Cesaro catches him, and he basically, from having him in that position, he basically cheerleader tosses him in the air and then hits him with the European uppercut. And then at different points he has more incredible European uppercuts, but Cesaro keeps working over that leg with kicks. Cesaro gets desperate, he starts checking some of the kicks, and then it comes time for another big lifting European uppercut, and his leg gives out, and then they start trading back and forth, and then Cesaro ends up getting crashed into, his face crashed into with a black mass, and then Aleister wins. I thought this was a great match.
Yeah, I think Aleister Black showed up, and he was in phenomenal physical condition, and he's been training really hard off camera the last couple months, for Vince McMahon's cosmetic business, and as you mentioned, like, Cesaro's been like this gem that's just like hidden away all this time until they feel like putting him in there to do something. I did like the Judas effect, the V trigger, and Golden Triangle that Aleister Black busted out at the beginning of the match.
Yes, I forgot. Like at somewhere around like either the midway point of the match or maybe just before it, Cesaro, he does that springboard European uppercut. He goes for it the second time and he meets a V trigger. I let out a shout. It's like I just love when Aleister Black just starts just V triggering people. Like it's the best shit ever. Like it just is. Like it is that. I don't know if I enjoy Riddle fucking someone up for a stretch of time or if I enjoy the Aleister Black offense of knees and spinning knees and all sorts of kickery more. I don't know.
And there was a level of physicality in this that like nothing else on the card matched. For me, it was easily the match of the night.
Yeah.
And they were just like sounding off on each other's chests. We'll apologize ahead of time and and fire off. I gave this one a 4.
Yeah, I gave it 4 as well. The crowd was not into it, and that's why I was like, yo, if this is the crowd was not into it that much until like they eventually got won over because they were beating the piss out of each other. So it was very much like one of those cruiserweight situations where they had to go out there and prove themselves that, oh yeah, these dudes are like murdering themselves. Let's actually like give a damn. So what do you think this means for the future for Aleister?
I mean,
how long before they just start calling him Aleister?
I think since Aleister is kind of like tougher to say and spell, he might stand a chance of retaining both names. And the black goes with like the darkness and everything like that. So maybe, right?
It's you.
It's you. Yes. I mean, AJ Styles has the U.S. belt. Nakamura has the IC title. He's a SmackDown guy. Maybe they can do Shinsuke Nakamura and Aleister Black.
That make a lot of sense. And also, these are two guys that have, since Undertaker has gone to, the part-time, we see less and less of them. Two guys that have been promoted as top strikers in WWE since Undertaker has lost a step, I guess, whatever you want to call it. So, after this, we get the SmackDown Women's Title match, a handicap match between champion Bayley and the team of Alexa Bliss and Nikki Storm. I'm calling her indie name, Nikki Cross. So, this match was not good. This was one of the worst matches I saw this entire weekend. It is more Nikki and Alexa are doing quick tags and keep them in one corner, keeping Bayley in one corner. Bayley eventually turns the tables by kind of getting one of them at whatever point on her corner that doesn't exist because she doesn't have a tag partner. But at one point, Nikki's in the match, and I'm gonna call her Becky. Bayley is able to get her into a Indian Deathlock. I don't know why, but Alexa is so incompetent that she can't actually strike Bayley while she has somebody in a submission move. She misses, and then while that's happening, she ends up while Nikki is still in the Indian Deathlock, Alexa ends up in a bank statement,
which is fucking hilarious.
Yes, it is.
For like levels of reasons.
Yes.
Like WWE scripting now. Oh, we'll stick it to her, and then Bayley would probably be like, yeah, I'm homegirls with Sasha. I'm gonna put this bitch that Sasha don't like in this move. And when I say bitch, this is what Sasha means. So, I'm gonna do this for you, Sasha. Just hilarious. I've never seen a handicap match for a championship that was ever worth a damn. And this is the same, whatever. I'm not into Nikki Cross. I'm not into Alexa Bliss. Poor Bayley to have multiple pay-per-views with this. Yeah. It's like, man, did they give everyone bad shit like this on purpose until they can stick Charlotte back in there? Because that's what it feels like. Could she be wrestling Ember Moon? Could she be wrestling literally anybody else? Like,
I mean, you could say Ember Moon, but like, Vince ain't for the she's a really good worker. She's about like, what's the character? And by all accounts, the stuff that they've been doing with Ember Moon on TV has been bad, and she has not performed well to even, So I can't even say the normal. Yeah, just put her in there with somebody that's really good. Is like, that ain't good enough because like they won't give a fuck. I
think I gave it like 2.25.
That's nice. I gave it flat too.
Look at me being friendly to Alexa.
Yeah, so next match after that was so the finish of the match was that Bayley ends up clearing out Alexa, and then she slaps on was it submission? No. I forgot how she beat Nikki. I totally forgot it. Completely blanked my mind. That great 2-star match. Anyway, she ends up beating Nikki, so Alexa did not have to take the pin. After the match, Alexa was consoling Nikki, so she hasn't like turned on her yet because she figures eventually like she'll win me something, and then that's when I'll stick the knife in. So next match after that is Strowman versus Bobby Lashley, last man standing. They brawl around the ringside. They go into the concourse. They come out on the concourse, going down the stairs the other side. There's a spear from Lashley. That spears him through the barricade. That sends them from outside of the barricade or the ringside entrance into it. They wrestle over towards the equipment side or the camera side of the outside part. They brawl back and forth up the stairs and then to a spot where they do a power slam finish and Braun Strowman wins. I love this match. I don't know what your thoughts on it was.
It's impossible to have a bad last man standing match.
I know.
And
Braun's rules.
Bobby Lashley bust his whole ass.
Yes.
Like, they were trying for a second.
Yes.
Like, then, I don't know. It was just a punter brawl. Like, it was okay. I wonder what they're going to do with Braun now. Like, they've accidentally given this man wins and have people believing in him again. Like, so how will they kill him off this time, James? Will they force that man to wrestle handicap matches against midgets?
I don't think that's what they'll do. I don't.
Will they turn him into the dancing giant, Braun Strowman?
Dude, somebody talked about it in the thread about why does Braun Strowman? I guess it was like he really takes really tiny steps or whatever, and I was like, yeah, he takes toddler strides.
Oh, that was me.
He's always taking toddler strides. Like, if you remember the time when he chased Miz in the Miz Garage or whatever they were called a couple years back, after they murdered him with the inside the trash compactor. And he's running on top of chasing him, and you look how fast those feet move. It's not because of. It's because he's taking like the shorter strides. Like, I've always said that man moves as if like he's one bad step away from tearing his groin. So yeah, that man has no flexibility. Just short striding. Anyway, yeah, I thought it was a really good match. I mean, I have no idea what this means for the future, especially with Lashley. Like, and I wonder how much longer Lashley's gonna be with this company, because like I don't really know what they do with him next now. Like, unless they just become another Shane goon, I don't really see what else there is to do with him.
See, he's a heel. I was like, well, I was like, before this, I was watching with Jory and Josh. I was like, can they do like Lashley and Brock now? Like, can we just see it and have them kill each other in 5 minutes? I don't know. Like, Lashley tries hard, but obviously they don't know how to write for him.
Right.
Right. And the guy that actually ever had him moving is fucking sidelined for political reasons. So, yeah, it's just it's sad to see what Lashley's becoming here.
Yeah, I mean, it also doesn't help that man was like one of the least interesting characters in all of his like run since he's been back. So that doesn't help either. I guess you just move on from there. The SmackDown Live Tag Team Triple Threat match. Brian and Rowan versus Xavier and Big E versus Heavy Machinery. Another match I enjoyed the hell out of. I thought all 6 came to play. I thought it was very much a another situation where Tucker is showing and proving that he's not just Jannetty. He's still Jannetty, but like it's the Jannetty is also good, not the drugged out Jannetty.
Yeah, like I took one thing away from this match, and it's apparently when you put Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan together in the tag team, Daniel Bryan is the pin eater.
Yes, yeah. He is because the Leo.
Small.
Yes, he is the Leo Onozaki from Queen's Quest. He is the Saya Lita from Stars. He is there to do a job. It doesn't matter that he's a first ballot WWE Hall of Famer. It doesn't matter that he's one of the best. He's one of the biggest stars that you've had over the last decade in the company. Anytime there's a chance for you to protect Eric Rowan, you have to do it. That's just common sense, right?
Who knew?
Yeah.
Who knew?
Yeah.
Just incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, so, but anyway, I think the main takeover for me was that, like, Big E is back, and he looked like he was set to have, like, a breakout moment. That looked like a breakout moment at the end right there, where he powered through, took the slaps and punishment from Daniel Bryan, fought through the submission, took the slaps, caught Daniel Bryan, and then they hit the midnight hour and they won the match. I thought that was that was Roman and the Shield like.
So I feel like we've been hoodwinked into these Big E moments.
Yes.
Twice a year for like the past 3 years, and it's just like,
are
they ever gonna fucking do it? No. Okay, whatever.
I mean, they have a reason. I will say this: they have a reason to kind of do it around now, seeing that like. There's money in one of the New Day betraying Kofi. There absolutely is.
Yeah, and now we ain't got to worry about Brock cashing in on him.
Yeah. So who's
party time?
So it's like, all right. So who's going to face SummerSlam?
We'll see. There's a lot of options.
Are there? It's SmackDown.
I mean, they don't care about that. They'll pluck anybody. They might fuck around and have Seth fight them.
Oh my god! Again? Oh, but this time the bar's not going to barge in this time, huh?
Right.
Okay.
Just out of nowhere.
Yeah. So I would say I think obviously I don't think the time is right now, but. I think there's going to come a time when, like, Heavy Machinery within the next 6 months will be tag champions.
Yeah, Fuck All Night, Tucker Night is determined to show up on pay-per-view that for all of Otis's goofiness, he's the one that if they break up in this company, he's going to get the push. Because look at him.
Yeah, but it's like, all right, I think ultimately it comes down to who's more charismatic and who's a better wrestler. Like, I think the thing is like, yeah, I think we're coming. I think we're coming to find out that Tucker is not a stiff, which is like a lot more than we knew before, even in NXT. But Otis is still.
Otis is a preliminary guy forever.
Oh yeah. Like he'll always have a spot to be the charismatic, funny, fat dude. Absolutely. Like the Caterpillar will be around. Like even when he's done with WWE for whatever reason, like the Caterpillar will be a thing when he's still doing wrestling anywhere else for the rest of his life. Yeah. So from there, the U.S. title match, Ricochet versus AJ Styles, in what was how to get a pay-per-view and have the worst match out of their 3 matches. Go figure.
The WWE this up.
It's the pace, man. Like, their pacing is just so, I mean, you watch everywhere else in you watch everywhere else, and you see the stuff they do in this match, and hell, you do it in NXT, and like they're not wrestling at this slow ass pace, and that's one of the things that just gets you is like you have to have or in a match with certain people that go a certain time, you have to wrestle at a certain pace, and you can't pick it up. Like you watch these. Or I've been watching these G1 matches. I'm caught up to date on all the G1 matches, and it's like you watch that, or you watch Stardom, and you in singles matches. You're just like, they don't have to. They can speed up. They don't have to like work at them. They don't have to work at the speed of like a 4 out of 10 the whole match. They don't. You know, they can sometimes work at a 4, like a Tanahashi, and then speed it up to 8. It's It's really hard to watch. It's a slog at times. And most of these AJ matches that don't pop are because of the pace. The problem is the pacing. It's not necessarily the story of the match because it's always well wrestled and it's always crisp. It's just, unless there's like a crazy closing sequence based on people countering out of a finish or whatever else, like there's just nothing to pull there when those matches are not on point. And that's the problem that Seth has too in some of these matches.
Yeah, this is what people mean when they start saying AJ Styles is washed. Mm-hmm. Like the matches that he's having, and I'm not blaming Ricochet for this because it's like, what type of clout does Ricochet have right now to be able to get a match changed a certain way to where he doesn't have the fucking the club out at ringside running up every time he wants to do something? Like, this was so disappointing on a million levels. This like. These are two of the chance to compete.
Yeah, these are two of the very best wrestlers this country has ever produced, and they came out there and gave you 3.5 star match.
It's crazy.
I mean, and literally, if you do this anywhere, hell, if you do this under a different umbrella of or different banner or color scheme of WWE, this would not be no 3.5 star match. It would have been a 4.5 star match minimum. And hell, I saw their match. I saw their 2 matches on Raw. Both their matches were better. So somehow they're wrestling faster on TV than they are on pay-per-views. I don't get it.
Well,
like the build. We have to build.
Look, it's they have to wrestle fast because they know they can't go till the commercial break. They have to win.
Fair enough. That's a good point.
Incredible psychology there.
That's a very good point. I mean, is there anything else? Like, I mean, I'm sure they're going to have a match at SummerSlam that's going to probably make up for this one. They're going to be like, why the fuck can't you just do 2 of those instead of 1? No. We know they can do classes anytime they touch together because they're 2 of the most talented people on the planet. But how about this? We only give you 1 of them, but we're going to have them wrestle like 5 times over that span.
Right. It's like we got to have a mid match to get you to like a less mid match. Like, come on, man. Like, no. Like, let these motherfuckers go out there, burn it down. If you want to do it again, you have AJ Styles. Like, you use your creative hat and have him cut a promo saying he wants to wrestle this man again. And how difficult is that to do?
Not very.
Especially when they in other feuds, they'll just keep the shit going forever and ever and find ways to give people. But no, these guys in the AJ Styles feud, we have to do gimmickry and bullshit to extend it.
Yeah.
Go figure.
Yeah, like I mean, honestly, I don't know, like ever since 2017, it feels like every single AJ Styles feud, like, it goes 4 months. Not 3, 4. So, strap in. Buckle up. Yeah, so, next match after that, the WWE title match between Kofi Kingston and Samoa Joe. Match is based around the middle finger, the disrespect. So, Joe dominates early. He gets him outside. He lifts up Kofi's hand. He works over his hand, and then he ends up putting it into the steel steps and then stomping on the steps. So then from there, at different points, he's working over the hand, and then Kofi is trying to throw punches, but he thinks better of it because his hand is so messed up. So he ends up throwing headbutts and forearms and more kicks. Joe gets the better of him at a certain point, and they go back and forth a little bit until pretty much hits the ropes, and then or Joe hits the ropes, and then Kofi ends up hitting him with Trouble in Paradise and pins him.
It's Samoa Joe in a championship match. He is now 0-8 over the last 12 months in title matches. Get Samoa Joe the fuck off my screen.
Did you say Samoa Joe was 0-8 in title matches or 0-80? Because it feels more like 0-80.
Same difference.
Like
get him the fuck off my title matches. Joe's I won't say he's washed up, right? But what I will say is we know it's aura at this point. I could tell that man wasn't going to win. Why? Because he hasn't been working out. And usually when people are about to get a title reign, they'll show up in shape. Now, had Joe came in about 20 pounds lighter, I might have believed it for even a single second. But, yeah, I'm glad Kofi continued holding the championship. We do need to get Kofi higher profile opponents, someone that's on his level as a champion or higher. He needs a feud with, or else all these matches they're not going to connect like that. The Ziggler stuff's not going to connect. This Joe thing's not going to connect at a level. I gave this just a gentleman's 3, and I was just where is it? Because I know Kofi can do it, so let him do it. Are they waiting for Randy Orton to come back around and challenge him? I don't know.
I don't know. I gave it a 3 as well. I was just it's a well wrestled match, but it's just that. That's it. Yeah. At one point, sorry, I don't know at what point because I didn't rate it because why would you? But at one point, Kevin Owens came out. He ends up against Ziggler. He squashes Ziggler. I think it was a kick to the gut, then a stunner, and then a pin. Or maybe there was one more exchange between that, and then it turned into the kick and then the stunner. So it was total nothing of a match. But after that, Kevin Owens cut a promo more or less reiterating what he said on SmackDown last week, saying that more or less intimating that he's coming after Shane, which is great, another Shane Owens feud on SmackDown because that didn't kill all of the second half of 2017 when they did it before then either, right? It's different because the dynamics have changed. Owens is the babyface now, and Shane is the heel.
Yeah. No, thank you. I could care less. I think that they are so desperate to get some type of. They're trying to turn Kevin Owens into Stone Cold and Shane into Vince, but the thing is, people don't actually hate Shane the way they hated Vince McMahon back then. Yes. Shane's just annoying, and it's troublesome just seeing him all the time. Because they push him like he's a superstar that people need to sell for, like Roman Reigns needs to sell for, Undertaker needs to sell for at different times, and it's completely ridiculous that these trained fighters who fight every day have to cower in fear from Shane McMahon. And seeing what they're doing now with Owens and him is do you guys have try something else, please?
I think the thing is that, and yes, you're right about this, but I think the main thing that really gets them and where they screw up is when they go for this, they can throw in Stephanie, or they can throw in Hunter, or they can throw in Shane, and really it's only ever worked when it was Daniel Bryan and the Authority. Or their issue that they're not thinking of when they do this stuff is. The inciting incident is the Montreal Screwjob, and then Vince comes out there and tries to tell you that his 50-something-year-old ass, could have beat Bret in a fucking fight, in a legit shoot, after screwing him for his belt, and then after that you have Stone Cold go up against him, and so the people hate his fucking guts, so then they decide, forget the time-honored tradition nonsense, let's make him actually Miss McMahon. So then that's where it is. That's where you go from there. There was something that legitimately happened that pissed people off about this crooked fucking booker. With the Shane stuff, it was he screwed over Miz. Okay.
Right.
And it's so he's also not nearly as good at, he's not charismatic like Stephanie or Vince. He's, And it's like, it's totally unbelievable he could actually be in a match with these dudes. He's actually had wrestling gentleman matches when Vince was doing this, Vince was getting his ass kicked in every 3 weeks by Austin. He's getting his ass kicked in every 3 weeks, and then had proxies fight his fights for him.
But for Shane, we got to keep him undefeated for 8 or 9 months at a time, so only the Undertaker can come back and beat him.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. So yeah, it's you know, and at least when they did the Daniel Bryan and the Authority thing, it was like the inciting incident is that the guy that everybody at the time wanted to be the champion got screwed, and then you made him chase and you fucked him every turn. And then you pissed people off so much that when you legitimately were not trying to actually like get it to WrestleMania, CM Punk leaves, the crowd is shitting on Batista, and you're forced, your hands are forced, so you have to finish off the story that you told and wanted to kill off. So, I mean, that's the reason why the Triple H Roman thing only worked for, it had moments like when he beat the piss out of Triple H with the chair at TLC 2015, or when he's punching out Vince when Vince is the guest ref. But outside of that, there's really no sustained thing to make it work. Anyway, so the main event, mixed tag match between both titles on the line. WWE Championship, WWE Universal Championship, and the Raw Women's title match are both on the line when his champions Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins take on in a mixed match challenge match. A mixed match, Extreme Rules match against Lacey Evans and Baron Corbin. Where winner take all. This is the end of the road for Baron Corbin and Lacey Evans for their title shots, and Corbin and Lacey can win if their teammate wins themselves. So, I mean, this match was not good.
This stunk.
It had a couple moments like the leg drop, the leg drop through the table, the kendo stick stuff, and the frog splash through the table. Outside of that, it's a grapple. It's nonsense.
I was confused because they were just standing on the apron once again and not tagging in or trying to jump in the match at each other, because this could have been a all-out war. Yeah. For as much as we like to clown on Lacey, the physicality ain't her issue.
Right.
Like, so
she ain't afraid to get hit. Like, and that's most of the battle.
And she got hit. Becky was like giving her, like, for that punch that she gave her, it looked like she was giving her all types of receipts in this match with the fucking kendo stick, with throwing her freaking one point. Lacey,
that leg drop is not pretty.
Lacey threw the chair in the air and hit Becky in the face. Like, so they was letting each other have it. But this was Seth Rollins' pro wrestling. In the battle of Seth Rollins versus Will Ospreay, I guess Seth Rollins might have got credit for 2 matches tonight. But the business collapsed on his watch as the champion. They did him no favors. And it was time to make a switch. Luckily, we didn't have to go through Baron Corbin to get it. And we don't have to see Lacey Evans continue to cool the jets of the person you put over in the main event of WrestleMania. I went 2.5 stars on this, and they went for the shock moment where Corbin gave Becky the move, and the crowd was like up in arms, and Seth finally snaps, and it's like, well, why was this match booked in the first place? Because this could have happened. You can't actually disqualify him for it. It's just like that we have to bend our heads around so much to make these rules like kind of make sense when none of it really matters, because it's an Extreme Rules match. Right. Like, the women can't hit the men can't hit the women, but they are watching Lacey Evans beat the shit out of Seth Rollins with the damn kendo stick, and it's like, well, you can't disqualify her, so what are the rules really?
Yeah, right. And that's the thing this is the reason why I hate multi-person tag matches. Is like, look, man,
bro, I'm sure I couldn't book this match in this stipulation in 2K.
Right. So, but even that is just if we're talking about even like Fight for the Fallen, like, dude, the triple threat tag matches are all fucking dumb because it's triple threats, so there's no rules. If there's no rules, it's tornado. And if you don't do a tornado, you make everybody look like fucking morons.
Yep. And I guess we gotta talk about it.
Yeah, so yeah, you mentioned 2.5. I had it at 2.5 too. So like, but I think it was a little bit more positive than you on the show. But like, top to bottom, considering I had nothing. I did not watch any build. I didn't care about any of this thing. I just saw the matches. A lot of these matches come through, and a lot of them did. So for me, I give it 1 thumb up.
Yeah, I don't really know how the thumbs up scale works. But
thumbs up more or less is like, all right. There's how there's thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs middle. Like I had the same thing except like on both spectrums I'll have 2 thumbs down and 2 thumbs up. That's me.
Oh, okay.
So I gave it 1 thumb up.
Got you. I got thumbs in the side, like
so thumbs middle. Like, okay, cool.
Like how Cesaro and the bar be doing, like thumbs in the middle.
Okay.
It's like I saw way too much great wrestling this week, and it was like I said at the beginning of the show, like it's not that this show or a beginning of our call off the air. I was like, it's not that the show was bad. I just thought a lot of it was there,
right,
and not really aiming high.
Yeah. I mean, when those are your 2 biggest matches, you definitely aren't aiming high. Even though one achieved, the other one, did about what we thought it was going to do. So thank God one of them came through.
Brock comes out, bro. I tell you, when Brock came out, I was fucking jumping up and down, hollering, laughing, and saying, "Come get this man, Brock, in this shit." And for me, it makes no difference whether Brock Lesnar sits at home with the Universal title or Seth Rollins defends the belt in bad matches. It's a wash. Like, I've written that belt off like as such, and I encourage everyone else to do so, because it literally doesn't matter until it does, and that when it does, it's going on Roman Reigns.
I'm trying to figure out how they're going to get Brock to SmackDown. That's really what I'm trying to figure out.
I mean, the wild card rule.
It can't just be that, because like, why the fuck would he ever show up? He's a champion. He has everything you need, and he has it on his own show. So why the fuck would he ever why would he ever care about going on SmackDown?
Look, maybe he's not going.
I don't believe that for a second.
Like maybe he, because Raw will always be Vince McMahon's baby.
Rich, the reason why they did the wild card rule is because they one time dropped below 2 million for a third hour.
You know what's funny about all that?
Let me finish. Hold on. And the reason they dropped below the third hour, and then USA Network asked Vince, "Why the fuck is it Roman isn't on Raw?" And then the wild card came up the very next week. So I have a hard time believing that they're not going to be doing Brock on SmackDown, because that will then be the ratio.
You know what was funny is, like, when a month later, like when the wild card rule collapsed, Brock was on all those shows, not moving the needle. So it's just hilarious how Vince McMahon talks himself into thinking Lesnar is the answer. I saw a lot of people putting out finger poke of doom references. Of course, this being WCW that we're living in, the plan is to get the belt back on Hogan, so eventually Goldberg can go through the NWO to get it back again. But Goldberg puts his arm through glass, so all we got to do is make sure Roman Reigns doesn't punch a limo or anything, and then eventually he can chase down Brock.
Dude, I think that calling Roman Reigns Goldberg is absurd, except for the spear. Goldberg was at one point the second biggest draw of the entire Attitude Era, or the third. So I find that to be fucking ludicrous. How dare you? How dare you?
I mean, I'm just aggregating the situation.
I get you. However, that's bullshit. Don't do that ever again.
There's no proof that Roman Reigns is drawing a dime. Like WrestleMania came and went without him. Like at this point,
I mean, right now he's below Becky and Seth. Or no, actually, he's below only Becky right now. Right now. But, I mean, once they get him out of a shitty program, maybe that changes, right? I think a lot of people are just giving up on him because it's like, why wouldn't you give up on him? He's been doing this. He lost to fucking Shane McMahon. There is no hope, right?
Like, they have to book him versus Shane the next 2 days, right?
I don't
on
know.
one of these shows to do it and destroy him, right? Because if they don't put him against Lesnar at SummerSlam, right? Then what the fuck did they do with this man? He didn't turn on the Undertaker.
Undertaker ain't turning on him either.
Correct.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's they just out here doing shit. I'm sure they'll figure it out like tomorrow at 4 p.m. So
that boy Seth Rollins, that boy Seth Rollins kept the red belt warm for Brock. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
L's.
Yeah. So yeah, man. I think that's kind of all I got on Extreme Rules. Do you want to just move on to Fight for the Fallen?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay. So, a lot of these reviews for Fight for the Fallen I can't really give you because there's too much shit going on in these matches, and, I mean, there are stories, but, like, there's so much action going on that, hell, the camera can't keep up with it, so why should I be able to remember it a day later, right? And I'm out here getting spammed by flips. So, yeah, 6-man tag match. You want to go through you have any thoughts specifically on the pre-show?
Yeah, the librarian gimmick is going to get over. I'm going to say it now and watch it grow, and it actually is starting to get over because when they came out for to do the breakup with Paige and Jericho, the people were shushing when Peter Avalon came out. So it's going to work. I'm excited about seeing B. Priestley in AEW as well as Shoko Nakajima. It's my first time ever seeing her. She was a ball of fire. And you see why Riho got those wins to establish her to essentially end up putting someone else over. It all kind of makes sense, and you'll notice that pattern with AEW like going forward. Like even Allie, to give Brandy a win, they built Allie up. Right. So like it all kind of like flows into each other.
Yeah. And one thing for the people, hold on real quick. One thing for the people that like they hear 50-50 booking, but they don't understand the difference between 50-50 booking and wins and losses not mattering. You can do 50-50 booking if you make your wins and losses matter. So the stuff they're doing in AEW where Rio gets a win on the main card, so then she then gets pinned or beaten in the next show
by someone different,
right? Or like when we talk about G1 stuff, where like somebody in the G1, someone that wins the G1 faces someone like the month later at Destruction or whatever else against someone that beat them in the block. Like I remember, was it 2017 when Evil ended up beating Okada? Right,
yep.
Right. Like that's like, oh, okay. That makes sense, right? It's like, okay, that's to sell, like, this person has something over them, so they have a reason to fight each other. So you want to see that match, and then that person eventually gets their win back, more times than not. Like, that is wins and losses mattering. It's not just, okay, I mean, sometimes, preferably for me, I would have it to be where, like, it's tiered, where, like, okay, person X, Y, and Z, they're top people, so they only can lose to themselves or to, on occasion, somebody that's at the upper mid card. Like
right.
That's in a perfect ideal how you would do it. But in this instance, because we haven't really established for the most part the hierarchy of the mid card in AEW, that's why that one worked out for me. Like, because I don't know what exactly is the lay of the land for the women's division in AEW. They just be out here, like, doing matches.
It's just deep.
Right. Right. It's not nearly as fleshed out as the upper mid card and the top guys in the singles division for the men are yet. Anyway, what was the other match? The Librarian versus Avalon versus Sunny Kiss, right?
Yeah, Sunny Kiss came on the Jalen Ramsey jersey, which like had me dying immediately. Only I like shared with myself why. I didn't even tell you until like the day after that happened, and I was like, wow. But like I don't think too many people caught it because there were only some tweets about it. I thought Sunny Kiss, I thought the entrance was great. First thing I thought was the Nitro Girls because they had the Jacksonville Jaguar cheerleaders with them. I was like, are we going to get the Dynamite Girls? Sign me up.
In the layout of the amphitheater thing, it looked like some WCW shit.
Yes. And I thought the match was okay for what it was meant to do. I think Sonny Kiss's strikes look like shit. Either I think he should not do them or work on them, but he's athletic as fuck, and Peter Avalon's a solid worker. If anyone's gonna get the librarian gimmick over, it's him, just because like he's a great character kind of actor, it seems like, and he just walks with such a disdain for everyone. But yeah, that's it.
Okay. Yeah, so the main card, 6-man tag match, MJF and Sammy Guevara and Sean Spears, Perfect 10, Ty Dillinger versus the Team Hardcore, Jimmy Havoc, Darby Allin, and Joey. I get back down by Enzo Amore, Janela. So
Joey White Claw Janela.
I don't know what that means.
That's a drink.
Okay, cool. All right. So, I mean, a lot of it is, individuals, not teams, that nobody trusts each other in their own team. Everybody's still trying to steal each other's shine. There's turmoil, especially amongst the MJF Sean Spears contingency. It looked, I mean, I don't know how you want to cover this, but more or less, like, Sean Spears only fought dudes when he had the advantage. He came in and he got the pin by the end of the match, and he pinned the dude that Cody could not finish off in 20 minutes. So I thought it was interesting. And then after while he's celebrating, MJF, because he claims that Cody is his best friend. He looks like but he's also a shit heel. Like he's going to sneak up and beat the piss out of, or jump Sean Spears. Sean Spears turns around, and then MJF don't want no smoke, so he backs off like a coward because he's at the end of the day he's still a heel.
Yeah. Sammy Guevara was like a one-man highlight reel in this match, just flying all around like, get your shit in, all-star. Jimmy Havoc actually was kind of decent as well, and I think Darby Allin, like, he's gonna be a superstar one day. I just see it all over the guy.
Yeah, he was super over with that first tag he got because they really appreciated him going the distance with. Just like Rocky, they really appreciate him going the distance with I guess, for lack of a better word, the champ and Cody. So yeah, I thought I gave it like 3.5 stars. I thought it was a really good match.
Yeah, I went 3 3/4 on it just because of what's his name, Guevara's athletic brilliance.
Yeah. Yeah, he had a moment where he ends up going like he has like 3 different big diving, jumping moves in a row. So yeah.
Then Janelle saying "fuck Jim Cornette," that was funny.
Yes, it was. So then we go to the very worst match I've seen, the worst match in professional and Major League Professional Wrestling this year that I've seen. I mean, it's probably in the top. Let's see. Let's see.
No.
Hold on, wait. Besides like Becky Lynch versus Alicia Fox, what else is there?
Seth Rollins versus Baron Corbin at Stomping Grounds.
That wasn't a worse match. That was not a worse match than Ali versus Brandy. They fucked up everything. Or not everything. They fucked up half of the stuff they tried. Like, they missed the strikes left and right, Rich. And I mean missing, I don't mean like, oh, they missed by a couple inches. I mean, no, they missed by a whole damn foot.
So, I don't know. If it was that bad, I think they would have started chanting CM Punk and everything else.
It was the second match of the show.
Get it out of here then. Like,
and it went way too fucking long. That's another part about it. Like, it went like, you watch that match and you think Brandy, I'm not sure if she's better than Billie Kay or Peyton Royce, but I know that she was out there way longer than WWE ever puts those two out there. So it went out there and it was suffering.
I think she's inexperienced, and also like for how long she's been in the business, her actual age, and what she's actually got to do at this point is more inexperienced, because she didn't look totally lost out there. There were just moments of like hesitation and just unfamiliarity. And I think we don't need these matches, like, to say the least, because this will lower the average if Brandy's coming out here doing whatever. But if it's a vehicle to get the Khan versus Khan popped off, I can, handle that.
I ultimately feel like they swapped the two matches around between the Britt Baker, B. Presley, Nakajima, and Riho match. I feel like that was going to be in the main card, and they swapped it so they can do the angle with Asia Kong and Awesome Kong. And I feel like it's the only reason why those matches got flipped around. And I mean, if that's what you want to do, cool. But I wouldn't put that on my thing. Like, unless they have a good reason for her to be in the ring, she should not be wrestling anymore. Like, they can use her in so many different ways, or better yet, do the same match, cut it in half. It doesn't need to go. It went longer than 10 minutes, which is like, why? So, I mean, whatever. It was the worst match I saw. It's been the worst major pro wrestling match I saw in a while.
I want to say that Rollins and Corbin's match got a smooth 1 star from Dave. Like, I want to say that.
I'm sure it did. However, you play them back to back. There's no way you're going to come away saying, oh, yeah, that match was worse. Like, it's worse on the fact that, like, oh, yeah, this is the fucking main event. What are y'all doing? Oh, yeah, definitely that. But, like, in a vacuum, no. Yeah, so from there, triple threat tag match, which is, I believe it is the... Oh, boy. I'm losing my mind on what... oh, yeah, so, I'm sorry. It is the Dark Order versus Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus versus... I'm blanking on the 13. Oh, Jack Evans and Angelico. Yep. Jack Evans and Angelico from All Out. Or not All Out, from Double or Nothing. So, I mean, it's just a whole bunch of flippery, too many moves to even try to keep track of. At one point, I mean, I think the two stars of the match, one was Luchasaurus, number 2 was Jungle Boy. Triple threat match, so they're tagging, and then all of a sudden it breaks to a 6-way at different points. At one point, Marco Stunt decides to get in the ring, and he does a top floor Hurricane Rana spot, which was awesome. But it was like, okay, so
like, why is this happening?
Yeah,
like where's the DQ?
Yeah, well,
actually, there is no DQ.
Yeah,
exactly.
I think the only thing it really explained was that we're not doing DQs here. What we'll do is, if someone interferes, we just throw their ass out, and then
referee discretion.
Right. Yeah, so I think it's just like, that's how they handle it. Like, they did the same thing with Daniels and later in the show, which is like funny because the Lucha Bros fucked with Daniels first. Daniels is getting even, and they threw him out. I was like, okay, all right. So, yeah, I thought that the what's his name? The skinny bald dude from Grayson, who's like, I don't know,
Grayson. He's a very good worker.
Yeah.
I think he got over as a wrestler, and Evil Uno was good as well, but there's something that's not connected with him. The wrestling is awesome, but their gimmick fucking sucks. And and mind you, there's a human dinosaur in this match, and their gimmick sucks. Like, and it's not the human dinosaur that I'm like tripping on.
The human dinosaur is the one that's over. And the human dinosaur is a dude that looks like Jesus, like,
that man's a world champion in any era.
Yeah, he looks like $1 million. Like, I don't know what the face and the hair looks like without the mask, but that dude, like, unless he looks like a monstrosity, that dude look like he could have been belted up in a lot of different, like, promotions around this world over the last 30 years of pro wrestling history. Especially because he's like that. Look how he moves. Look at the stuff he does. Yeah, that dude definitely,
like all these big flip motherfuckers or these big motherfuckers doing flips, and Lance Archer having the G1, he's on a roll of his life, and we're stuck watching Baron Corbin in main events.
And Elias. Don't forget Elias.
Yeah. Get the fuck out of here. Like, Luchasaurus was awesome.
Yep.
Incredible. And I think their act is going to be one that is going to be really popular with kids, women, and men.
So, what do you think of them pinning Jungle Boy as opposed to, like, getting Angelico or Jack Evans pinned? What do you think of that?
I thought it was stupid. The only thing I can think of is they didn't want to beat them again because Jack Evans and Angelico lost at Double or Nothing, I believe, to the Best Friends. And you're not going to pin Luchasaurus, obviously. Look at him. And then that kind of like left Jungle Boy out to dry. But I mean, Jungle Boy, the luxury is you can beat him like a drum forever until you actually tell us his story. However, to contradict myself again, they're assuming that everyone knows who Jungle Boy is and the audience is here. But I think, he's 22 years old, right?
Right.
And he can literally go on a journey with them.
Well, wait, I thought he was maybe even younger than that. I thought he was like 20. He's 22?
Yeah, he could be. I think he's somewhere in that area.
Okay.
But this is a guy you can take on a journey. You can put him in there. Like, what's stopping them from putting him in there with Kenny Omega, right? And having him take Kenny Omega to the limit before Kenny, like, gets rid of him at the end. Kenny shaking his hand, be like, yo, you're like made that man look like Bret Hart in 1, 2, 3 Kid or some shit like that. And then like he has to build back up to one day he fights Omega. You can literally do that with him, how they did Darby Allin kind of with Cody, but even more effectively because I think Jungle Boy is a more dynamic wrestler than Darby Allin is. So I think that's a long journey that you got to take folks on. So it stinks that they pinned him, but I get it.
Yeah. You're right. Jungle Boy is 22 years old, so I mean, ultimately, if he becomes just a solid mid card guy for a couple years, then like that's fine. That's fine as it is right now. Like he doesn't need to be, And
then eventually,
it's a long road towards the title. Like the long play is like that's him in like 2 and beyond 18 months. Like that's in 36 months. So
right. And he can change his name to Jack Perry, like Luke Perry, his dad. So eventually, yeah.
Yeah, so do you have a rating on that match? I just started. Do you have a rating on that match? I just basically like all the tag matches except for like the SCU match. I just basically gave like a blanket like 3.5, 3 3/4.
I gave that one a 4 because that one I thought was better than the opener.
Okay. Yeah, I like the mayhem and all these matches, just like, okay. So, this is where the show really like was like, okay. Was like,
we should probably mention the heat at some point.
I think this might be where it is right here. So, Adam Page versus Kip Sabian. Oh, they went out there and I don't know. They went 19 minutes on a 20-minute time limit, and you have Adam Page is about to be in a title match against Chris Jericho to become the inaugural AEW champion, and you have him go 19 minutes on a 20-minute time limit with a pre-show with a dude that was in a pre-show from Double or Nothing. What the fuck?
Yeah, that was incredibly short-sighted. Also, the gimmick knee injury, I believe that it is a gimmick, is doing.
Oh, that Seth Rollins shit. Blonde Seth went out there and had a Seth Rollins match.
Yes. The gimmick knee injury has never made anything better, ever. Ask Becky Lynch about it. And why they want to do this with him, I guess that's to give him some of what Kip Sabian brought up in his pre-show promo. It's like, the Hangman's like, this chosen one. He's getting a special treatment. He's a member of the Elite. And Jericho, like, talked about it as well. And I guess that's to humanize him, the knee or whatever, but I don't know. How about trying to make this motherfucker look impressive? Like, I don't know. Like, maybe I'm out of touch with this or something, James, but this motherfucker is supposed to be wrestling for the world title, the inaugural champion of All Elite Wrestling. And he's going in there fresh off of a Geek Battle Royal win.
Yep.
An unimpressive Fatal 4-Way.
Yep.
And a 3 1/4 match with a dude, as you just mentioned, that was on the pre-show a month ago.
You gave that 3 1/4? That's nice.
Yeah.
I didn't get that shit 3 stars. I get that shit 2 3/4.
Like, I don't think, like, it's not even, I don't think he looks like, no, this guy is not at the level right now.
Yeah. And the whole idea should have been
to be at the level.
The whole idea should have been, yeah, we know this dude isn't there, so we have to build him to make him credible. Like, they may as well just hand Jericho the belt. Like, we thought, like, before was even, well, after Double or Nothing, we all thought, okay, Jericho's be champion. Like, of course not, of course, you know, of course Adam Page is going to win. And I mean, probably if not for the Dragon Gate Championship, like, it would have been, you know, Jericho versus Pac, probably, right? But once it turns into we got to put Hangman in there, you have to put on the full court press to try to make that dude come off like he could actually legitimately stand a chance to stand across from Kenny Omega or Chris Jericho and be a reasonable threat to win the title. You could buy it. You could believe it. Like, hell, we talk, you know, people shit on WWE left and right. At least by the go-home show of WrestleMania, it had you believing that, like, oh yeah, Seth is actually a physical threat to Brock Lesnar. He beat the piss out of him with that chair, or he did something to beat the hell out of him with it, or with something. Like, at least they did that. What have they done with Adam Page? So, what have they done with him? They just like, oh, he goes out there and he's unimpressive. He's thoroughly unimpressive every time you see him. Okay, yeah, sign me up.
Yeah. I'm not digging it. I don't even know why. Like, they're not even telling us why they call him the Hangman. They might want to look into changing that gimmick because Jericho, every time he talked about him, called him the Hangman, yes. Which is fucking like. It makes you just think like, okay, what is his gimmick? I don't get it. Like,
yeah. And another thing about it is like, they've never done nothing with him outside of like let him go out there and just get a spot on the card because. This wasn't that show was not AEW, but look at All In. He's in a feud with, who did he fight? Janela, right?
Janela.
He fights Janela. Why did he fight Janela? I don't even remember.
I don't remember.
Okay, you don't even remember. You watch the fucking show every single week, right? So that lets you know everything. And then he gets taken off by Dick Druids.
Yeah, he was the actual guy that Hangman was feuding with was Joey Ryan.
Right, because he murdered him. Except he did. Right. Because it's fucking ridiculous.
Right.
I'm just saying, like, the most we know about him is that he murdered the Dick guy, and then the Dick guy came back to life and then abducted him, and then, like, he just showed back up no explanation, almost like when they told us that the Wyatt family abducted Daniel Bryan and let him off in the middle of a parking lot. Like, what the fuck?
Bro, imagine if they were trying to put the world title on Triple H in 1997. This is what this feels like. Like, this needs to be like, we need to wait 2 years and then try again. Like, Tell them to hit the gym. Like, you know, show you're a badass. Like, if you're, like, I don't know. I think he should pick a lane. Do you want to be a rough and tough guy, or do you want to be, like, a body guy? Because, like, the way, like, Jim Ross will talk about him, right? It's like, all right, you're trying to make it seem like he's a combination of like Stone Cold Steve Austin and Magnum TA. I don't get any of that. Like, this is just a guy in cowboy boots with long, pretty blonde hair.
Yeah, like, it's funny because last year I was like, oh yeah, he's blonde Seth. And I'm like, as much as Seth out here struggling right now, this Seth, they let Seth talk. Like... AEW ain't letting this man talk. Like, he comes out and wins the match, and then after that, like, Jericho, who's dressed as one of the Dark Order goons, I think they call the Dark Order goons creeps, which is like, oh god, that'll help get your act over. Anyway, Jericho comes out as one of the creeps, and the second he comes out, you're like, I don't know how people didn't know, but like, they need to see the code breaker to realize it was Jericho in the Judas Effect. He ends up busting Adam. He's splitting Adam Page's shit.
And Judas affecting him.
Yeah, man was Judas affected. So then he's
affected by Judas, if you will.
So he just leaves, and then because it was billed as like, okay, Jericho will be out here. I thought that was the end, and then Jericho comes back later in the show, and we'll get to that after that. But yeah, man, it was really unimpressive showing for Page throughout the night. So then after that, you get Lucha Brothers versus SCU, and it's like, thank God, come through, thank God, thank you, Phoenix, thank you, Kazarian, thank you, Sky, thank you, Penta.
The heat is unbelievable at this point. I know Jeremy was there. I didn't go. I was supposed to go to this show, but I did not go. And I don't regret it.
Yeah, I thought that you were there. That's why I asked you about the heat, because I just thought, okay, they're probably getting beat down because it's probably like 85, even with the sun out, right? So then you're like, you weren't there. I was like, wait, what? You ain't there? Huh? Okay.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, they have a back and forth match. They're trying to top each other between the SCU Chance and Cero Miedo. So then it breaks into tornado tag wrestling.
Yeah.
It's just spot porn. And eventually there's this interaction where the Lucha Bros end up attacking Daniels. Daniels gets his bearings and comes back and tries to attack. He does attack, and then they throw him out. I believe Aubrey Edwards was the ref.
Bro,
Girl Hebner threw his ass out.
Bro, Daniels does the fucking the split leg moonsault off the rope to the outside. Then he looks dead in the camera and he's like, 49. I was fucking howling when he did that shit.
You know what I thought you were gonna say? I thought you were gonna say that, like, yes, he said he does the split leg moonsault to get vengeance on them fuckers that they hit him for no reason, attack them unsolicited, and then all of a sudden he's like, wait. When Aubrey Edwards went to throw him out, and he was like, "Wait, what did I do?" I thought, so you're gonna be the punchline, but yes, he did do the 49. Like, yes, we old out here, balling.
I love Daniels. Like,
I'm out here balling. I know you hear my sneaks. So,
yes, it's fucking hilarious. Like when he comes to the ring, he's like bobbing to the music. It's like, this old fucker like it.
The best part about, or one of the funny parts about the entrance was that he had the mic in the mic stand, right, and then the mic fell out halfway through the thing, and he's like, "Fuck!" And then he had to make it work, and he still did the SCU thing. I was like, boy, it's. And he was sweating up a storm because it was hot as fuck. He ain't even in the match. He had to do two things in the match. He had two spots in that whole match. It was sweat up a storm through that shirt. So yeah, man, it was hot out there.
I liked the match.
But yeah, I thought it was a really good match. I think I had it at 4 1/4.
I think I had that one at 3 3/4.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, for some reason, that match worked for me more than the other ones. I don't know why. I think it was because it was easier to. It was only 4 bodies or 5 if you include Daniels, as opposed to like the 6 people at these other multi tag matches. I think one thing that hurts. I think because at this point, like, this is where the show kind of picks up, or right this going into the SEMA Kenny match, but. The previous shows, and this show was still a good show, I still would give it 1 thumb up, but like the 2 previous shows, like there was a diversity on the main card of, okay, this is Cody's NWA 80 shit that his dad would have booked, right? This is the Young Bucks spot porn here. This is the Jericho or Moxley brawl right here. Brawl / whatever else here, and then like there's other flippy shit going on. And then there's also like the Joshi match, right? Like those all had diversity, so much different. Like on this card, it was like, okay, throw 6 bodies at it and have them just like do a bunch of dives. So I felt like that hurt the card as well, along with the circumstances of the weather. Yeah. So I believe, did the Jericho thing go on before or after the Kenny match?
After the Kenny match.
Okay, so we'll go to Omega and SEMA. It's glad to be reminded that Kenny Omega's still fucking great, right?
It's funny. It's funny because you were going through each of everyone's like kind of style that's been getting to be showcased, and then now the third show when we finally get the Kenny Omega singles match that I wanted,
the big bout,
whatever,
the big bout.
Yes, the big bout from the big bout machine, the best bout machine. Like, Oh, I was just like 5 minutes into this match. I was like, this is fucking glorious. It's so fast, it's so crisp, it's so technical, and it is hard hitting. I never want to hear someone talking shit about there's too many V triggers again, because if you look at the amount of fucking knees that Shima threw, my god. But
oh yeah, if you include the Meteoras, like he was spamming the fuck out of Meteora. Yeah, so the thing for me is I thought this was just a good match until you get the Meteora onto the table from the stage. So that's when it all changed for me. I was like, okay, here we go. And then like for me, like it's always funny when you go and you look at like Observer Awards and like One Wing Angel win for best maneuver. I'm like, why the fuck is Kenny Omega's best maneuver? But to people, the One Wing Angel is his best maneuver. His best maneuver is the V trigger. His second best maneuver is his dragon suplex. Get the fuck out of here. So when he starts when he starts bouncing brains off of the canvas with the dragon suplex, that's what I'm like, yes, that's what we need. That's what's happening. I need to see brains bouncing, brains scrambling. So
I fucking loved it. Like I loved this match. It was a classic. Like I didn't have the heart to give it 5, but I went 4.75 on it. So
yeah, I had it at 4 and 3/4, and at that point I didn't know if it was the best or second best match I've seen this week between that and the Ishii match. Ishii and Cobb. Like I love both of those matches. I think I liked the Ishii Cobb match a little more because it fits more into the Ishii stuff is so easy to get into from the get go, and this one took a little bit of time, and I wasn't really that big of a fan of Shima. Just like
what do you think of Shima? Because I know you were concerned coming in.
He came to play. I don't think that he's what he probably was a decade ago. Right, but
right. I think
he's still
Kenny
very good, and he can be carried. Like he's probably someone that can be out there and consistently, if you wanted to. Like, hey, I need you to go out there and have a 4-star match. I think he'd be like more times than not he could do it for you. But I think he needs to be in there with somebody that's one of the best workers in the world for him to go out there and have that kind of match he had with Kenny, that level, that near 5-star, that over 4.5 type thing. I think he needs to be in there with, the Ospreys, Ishis, Io Shirai's, Walters, Pete Dunnes, Ricochets, Garganos of the world for that.
Yeah.
The Andrades, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. What the fuck was I going to say? I lost my train of thought.
It's about Kenny?
I think it was about Shima.
What do you want to do? Well, let's do this while you think about it. What do you want from him next? Like, what do you see from him? Do you want him to just bring back the Strong Hearts and try to get back into the fold and tag teams situation, or do you want to see more single stuff with him?
I would welcome like more singles action like from him, and then like some of the guys that are like more out of the Kenny like kind of style, like the Flyers. Mm-hmm. I love to have him go in there with those guys. Oh, I know what I was gonna say. Kenny he gave Shima a lot in this. Like Shima beat the fuck out of him for like, I would say this was like a 65-35 match. Like, I think Kenny was supremely unselfish. Like, there are times like Omega's offense is just so flash lightning, he can just eat you up quick, but he allowed Shima to beat the shit out of him.
I didn't really think about it, or I guess I just didn't notice it, but I just thought like, okay, it's going back and forth until this, and then it was like the V trigger started flying. I was like, okay, it's a wrap. That's kind of how I saw it. I kind of felt like it was I didn't really notice that he had got much. I mean, I do remember there was a stretch towards the middle or the third, fourth of the match where he's just like, when he starts spamming Meteors, just like, okay, he's starting to get in. That's when I kind of noticed that, like, okay, he has advantage of this match. But I never thought it was like Kenta being the piss out of like Tanahashi.
It wasn't that level.
Yeah, okay, all right.
For this, right? I was thinking since the G1 started this week, Kenny he just wanted to feel at home and wrestle a Japanese dude in the first or second week of July or whatever. And this was Kenny's first day of the G1 match.
You dumb. Okay, so after that, we get a Jericho promo. Jericho says that I did want thank yous, but not from y'all. Y'all don't deserve. Y'all. He basically said we're unworthy. Then he starts shitting on Jacksonville by calling it Jerksonville or Jerkoffville, and then he called it a white trash Riviera, which popped the hell out of me.
Yes, I was white trash.
He starts burying Hangman, says he doesn't deserve it. He kept calling him the Hangman. It was almost like he was like clowning him, like how people do the supercuts of Seth Rollins when he was a heel in 2015, talking to John Cena all the time. John, the Hangman. It was kind of like that,
bro. Then he fucking buried the Battle Royal. And he was like, I wonder who I wrestle at All Out. He was like, would it be the kid with no legs?
Yeah. Would it be Marco Stunt? Would it be the dude would it be Janela who's stapling cigarettes on his forehead? And then he says, and then
Michael Nakazawa.
Yeah. I think he mispronounced Nakazawa's name too. And it's probably on purpose because he's an asshole. And then at one point, I think the dismount on it was, more bearing of Adam Page, and then he said that I think he said something along the lines of at All Out he's gonna make him his bitch, and then all of a sudden, he also pointed out that like the fake blood on his hand was Page's blood because he whooped his ass, and he wanted to further showcase how he could whoop that man's ass, how he could let that man Judas affected. So then Page comes out, they have a brawl, geeks assemble, it doesn't work, so then wrestlers have to assemble, and that kind of does the job. It's kind of, commentary puts over that it took a lot more people to hold off Page than it did Jericho, so saying that Jericho really don't want none because he's a coward heel. And I thought at that point because his character has been attacked so much by MJF and Jericho over these three shows.
If Heyman ain't come out and put hands on him, he a bitch, like Jericho said.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say that because so much of his character has been attacked and like he hasn't like shown it in the ring to say like, yeah, he is really deserving or whatever else. I thought this would be a perfect time for him to, get on a mic, cut a two-liner or whatever else, and say I'm gonna whoop your ass or have a retort. Nah. So that's it. That's kind of your build aside from whatever they do on the road to
All Out.
Yeah. So there's no way they're main eventing that match. There's no way that's the main event. No way. Can't be. Like even before the show, we were both like, nah, the main event is Moxley Omega. Now it's like, dude, you really want to do this WrestleMania 18 shit? That's really what you want to do?
And look, and it ain't Jericho's fault.
Yeah, Jericho told him this isn't the deal. If you put Pac in there, this thing would be main event easily.
Yeah, this is unfortunate. They're gonna have to like how they built up the Kenny and Jericho match on those kind of documentary pieces and different things they did with the UK broadcast and the Road to Double or Nothing, which was fucking phenomenal. Like when they had Kenny talking, like I don't know if Heyman got that in him, and I don't know if they are really going to be able to give him that type of depth that Kenny has. Well, because he's not Kenny for one, and he's not like among the top 5 guys you would want in this promotion to be touching the belt
right now. Hell no. You're right. Right now he should be a upper mid card guy, and ultimately that's probably where he was always going to land. But like right now, it's really looking bad.
Is he the best person to sacrifice to Jericho though? So you have matches for Jericho going forward, whether you want to make those guys the champion eventually, or, rather than sacrificing a 1, 2, 3, or 4 guy to Jericho, you give him like a 5 or 6 or 7, whatever the fuck he is, just to get him out the way.
I mean, it makes sense.
But you're trying to sell pay-per-views.
It makes sense, but it's exactly what I was getting at. Like, I will say this, right? I don't really begrudge them right now because they don't have TV. if they're doing this when they have TV, then it'll be a real problem. Like, for me personally, like, Paige right now seems like the guy that you give a title shot to against Jericho on TV in the main event of one of the shows between big four shows, big four pay-per-views that they're doing. Like, but you get him out of there, and either he beats him in 15 minutes or whatever else, and you call it a day. But this but actually as a buy right now, nah. Like, he's gonna have to travel on down a road to get back on that kind of territory after this.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, so
he could use someone turning on him, like someone that's close to him, or him turning. Like, I think he should be a heel.
I would agree, but it feels like who's supposed to turn on him right now, because like it seems like all the Elite are so disconnected from him right now. All of them.
Right.
Like, even compared to Kenny, and Kenny's off is doing his own shit too. But it's like, I think it's a lot of things. Is like, yeah, he'll show up at the end of the shows, whatever else with the guys, but like they don't ever let him talk. So it's like he ain't on his own. Like, he is the young boy of the Elite. Yeah, they got. I make a bunch of Sean Waltman jokes. I'll make a bunch of.
I see what's happening.
I'll make a bunch of young boy jokes right now, like he's Waltman in the Clique, but I'm not going to do that. But
damn.
Okay, so the main event, the Brotherhood, Cody and Dustin, the Rhodes versus the Young Bucks. They tried to do all of their styles all at the same time with no rhyme or reason on how to connect them together, except for the very end, and it went like 32 minutes.
I don't know if this is a hot take or any type of like controversial statement that I'm about to make. I wish that the Young Bucks would learn who the fuck they are. Why?
Do you mean like last year how they're instead of doing spot porn, they decided like we're gonna work? Matt's back went out again for the fifth time.
They're trying to have these matches to prove to people that will largely never give a fuck about them, right? Or spend money on them, or respect them in general, right? They're having these they have these matches that, like, oh, we'll show you we can do the stories and we can wrestle an old school Southern style match. It's like, bro, what makes y'all the Young Bucks is going against the grain, pushing back, like, and being like these dudes that break all the rules, essentially, not abide by the rules and how well you can do the rules. Like, that's not what I go to the Young Bucks for.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the match was like good. Like, I thought it was good. I think I gave it like 3.75. But
really?
That's like, yeah.
Okay.
Like, I didn't, but Bucks matches like 4.5s for me normally. Easy.
Right. I gave this thing 3.25, and then I looked at the cage match, and cage match is giving it a flat 3. I was like, or 6, which comes out to 3. I had a 3 and 3.25, and like, that's just ain't good enough for me on a match that goes
30 minutes,
31, 32 minutes. And for me, like, I said this after the takeover, the UK takeover, the first one, when it was Coffee and Dunn. It's like, look, man, if you're gonna go over 20, if you're gonna go 30 minutes, you better damn well be at 4.5.
Yep.
No excuses. Like, it's too fucking long for you to go. The match is going to be worse off for you wrestling at a certain level for that long. You're gonna burn out your crowd, and you're gonna pass your peak. And they just kept going and going and going. Like, once they said that they went to the once I heard the announcer say 20 minutes, like, and 40 left, I was like, are they going for an hour? Are they trying to go for an hour? And then all of a sudden they're like, yeah, 30 minutes left. I was like, bro, wrap this up. Go home. Go home. And then, like, luckily it didn't, like, the high level.
it just didn't achieve a high level. Like they were wrestling an unnatural style. I don't. Some people like it, so and I. This is what people want. They want the stories in their wrestling or the quote unquote stories or whatever, which we know is bullshit. But
I mean, no, there's validity to a through line to where, like, if you're not somebody that's privy to knowing all the moves or knowing person X, Y, and Z and watching 5 of their matches to know that, like, this person is trying to accomplish this and this person is trying to accomplish that. And these are the circumstances, and this is how they're going to get from point A to point B to all the way to point Z. Like, cool. I get that, right? Like, the reason why I love that Cesaro and Aleister Black match is the way that, like, I didn't go through. I will remember that match. What happened in that match a month from now, 2 months from now, maybe not a year from now, but a month from now, 2 months from now, I could be like, oh yeah, this all something went. This is a basic story of the match. Right, so that's what I appreciate. Supposed to, like, oh yeah, they did this spot, and like the Young Bucks do a lot of incredible things, and just like when they were doing the stuff with the Lucha Bros the last 2 shows, like, it was incredible stuff. But I feel like they are going way too long in these shows. Constantly, like, they're every match they've done. Like, I think I gave the match at Fyter Fest to get at 4.5. I gave the Lucha Bros match at Double or Nothing. I think I either gave that 4.5 or 4 3/4. Can't remember which one. But ultimately, at points while I'm watching their matches, I feel like they slowed down at certain points, and like they're trying to think of what to do next because they've done so much shit already. And it's like, if that's how it looks like to me right now, as a person that watches that much professional wrestling, then maybe, just maybe, cut up 5 minutes off your shit. Or in the case of this match, I felt like they had a lot of good ideas for a 18-minute match. They went 30. Don't go 30. Never go 30 if you only have 18 minutes worth of shit.
Yeah. What did you think about Cody and Dustin's performances?
I thought they were up. I thought that they were good. I don't think they were nearly as good as they were in 2013. And I mean that's a long time ago, right?
Yeah.
I think that ultimately Dustin would better serve, like, being in a tag team. I don't know if that's necessarily the best thing for Cody right now, but, if that's what he wants to do, that's what he wants to do. I would like them to wrestle, like, SCU. I would like to see them wrestle, I don't know, I would like to see them wrestle Pentagon and Phoenix, because I feel like Pentagon and Phoenix can wrestle them and have a brawling style and not necessarily, like, have to do all the crazy spots, and then because there's connection of them as friends with the elite stuff, like, they have to one team has to heal on the other at this particular time, and then then it's time for 5 minutes later it's time for the other team to heal on the other one. Like, that's another thing with these Cody matches.
It's like the compromise, like, is just so weird, because it's like, all right, either the Bucks had to slow down and do that, which doesn't really suit them, or Cody has to become work rate man, which is not his bag, like, and Dustin, like, at this point. I agree that if they were doing a brawling match with Phoenix handling the spectaculars, that could work a little bit better.
Or better yet, let's do this. I feel like
I think Cody and Dustin should be like a TV tag team. Like, they don't need to be going to pay-per-views with this, because Cody's got way too much juice right now.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that. So, remember how I said earlier in the show, like, there were so many matches that turned into throw 6 guys at the problem and just letting them do whatever the fuck they want, fuck the rules, right?
Mm-hmm.
This match would have been better if they never broke out into a throwaway for, like, the last 15 minutes of the match. Like, if they actually stayed in the if they wrestled this like it was an NXT tag match, this match should have been a lot better than it turned out being. But all these matches all these Young Buck matches turn into times where it's like, oh yeah, are there even tags anymore? Right? So I think that kind of hurt this match in particular, where it definitely would have helped them trying to get heat on somebody. Like, in the confines of this person can't get out, as opposed to, everybody's out on the floor, and then back in the ring, and then out on the floor again. And then, now both teams are trading super kicks and then disaster kicks and whatnot. Like, I thought that, like, them turning into a tornado match last 15 minutes of match did not help it.
And I think the Heat compromised a lot of the wrestling at certain points, like, so
I remember
specifically
a time where Penta was waiting to get tagged in, and all of a sudden you just see, like, it looked like
I thought Phoenix was kind of like off.
I didn't notice that, but I was gonna say, like, I thought there was a point where he was trying to tag in Penta, and all of a sudden, like, just buckets of sweat just come off his face all at one time together, and then it just all hits on the mat, and just like, dude, it's so hot. It's so hot out there. So yeah, like, I feel like later in matches, a lot of the stuff was not as crisp as it could have been because no AC. But yeah, I still come away feeling that this was a one thumbs up show. It's their worst show, but like, there was a lot of good stuff on there, and I think what really hurt it more than anything else was a lot of the sameness more than anything else.
And I think the length of the show, like, it felt like Fyter Fest was like, the main card was like 2.5 hours or whatever, and it was like, maybe they got something there. But I think if they go to 3 hours rather than like 3:45, I think they'll be okay.
Yeah, that's way too long for it. There's only 7 matches.
Yeah.
WWE doesn't even go that long with 7 matches.
Since it was the worst show in company history, I think they should close the company up, sell the Vince, and then just fuck it. Fuck the 100,000 pay-per-views you sold, and also fuck the show that you sold out in October. We'll just run a house show from WWE that night there.
What show did they sell in October?
Excuse me, not October. Fucking August 31st.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Any other stuff?
Overall, I think it was a good show. Like, I had fun watching it. I did get tired at certain points, but the promotion still feels special. It still feels like stories are progressing. It feels like the booking is making a lot of sense going forward. I did question Cody getting pinned. I wonder what that means for all this, or if this is just a one-off kind of scenario where they didn't want to pin Dustin for whatever reason. But I'm still excited as ever about AEW, and can't wait for All Out, because these motherfuckers are going to go all out, it looks like. So maybe there's a Britt Baker B. Priestley match. Hope Britt Baker's okay. She had a concussion, I believe. And I think, of course, we got John.
Are you saying that she was drilled?
Yes. Drilled. John Moxley.
You know who that's gonna pop when he ever hears this, right?
Who?
Caleb.
Yep.
He's gonna fucking love that.
Then of course, I said we got John Moxley and Kenny. Yep. It'd be interesting to see, the difference with Moxley in New Japan and then in AEW.
Are you serious? You really finna do this? Oh my god. It's the same nigga. Stop doing this. Like, I understand we did this joke this morning in the discussion thread, but I thought y'all were joking. I didn't know y'all were really gonna carry this on to podcasts and the like. Are we really gonna keep this gimmick up?
And so I'm just different about him in Japan. I don't know what it is, but
shorts.
Like, he just feels more like an outlaw there. Like, I don't know, but. Fucking yeah! I think
just had a hardcore match.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I'm excited to see what they've got going on.
Yeah. Okay. So, do you want to touch on any G1 stuff real quick? Because right now we're at like an hour and 48 minutes. So, do you want to do like? I don't know.
Nah, we'll give it to them next time. Like when the G1 got a little bit more. A little bit more underneath it, and we got some narratives to play up. I got some stuff early I'm keeping an eye on, but Lance Archer looks great right now.
That was Rich's way of saying, nah, listen to Keepin It Strong Style when I'm on here later in the week. All right, so Rich actually had to go, so I'm just going to give y'all some of my G1 thoughts. Night 2, I thought that I really enjoyed the Ishii and Khan match. They beat the hell out of each other. I really just enjoyed them throwing each other around and clubbing each other. Just Neanderthal wrestling. Just great. The Yano beats Naito thing, I don't know how y'all know, if y'all know how I feel about Yano. I'm just over it. I once you watch him twice, it's like, oh, cool, okay, he's a comedy guy. Great. All right, whatever else. So, easy night off. Like, I wish that someone like this Brooklyn's Naito had an easier night, like in night, 14 or something like that, right? Treat it almost like an NFL bye where, like, you want to be a team that has a bye in like week 9, right? Not one is in week 5. But anyway, whatever. Goto and White, it was a lot of the typical Jay White stuff. He does a lot of cheating and half-assing around until like the last, the last 8 minutes of a match, and then it's really good. Juice versus Shingo, just a great match. It's a great match. They're beating the hell out of each other. Just great jobs of different points of flipping your expectations based around punches and clotheslines. I thought the match was great. Then on to night 3. I guess we have to talk about it before we move on to night 3. Jon Moxley fucks up Taichi. I wrote down in all my G1 Climax notes I have from night 1, Archer defeats Ospreay and the like. Okada defeats Tanahashi. And night 2, I have Juice defeats Shingo. And then in the second match, Moxley fucks up Taichi. Taichi jumps him before the bell rings and fights him around the crowd, and then throws him around, and then they get in the ring, and then Moxley just takes over from there. And then Taichi tries certain things, just doesn't work, and then Moxley eventually just puts his ass away by dropping him on his head with the Death Rider. It's just it was more or less a one-sided match, and the story is that the only reason why it was one-sided was because, or it wasn't one-sided completely, was because Taichi decided to jump him outside the ring. So on to night 3. Archer Fale, I thought that Archer, it's funny that someone like Archer is getting the cheers from the crowd over Fale because they're so sick of Fale and his shit. Thought it was a nice performance from Archer. Fale is just Fale as Fale. Like, unless he's in there with, someone like Okada, it's just, why bother? Ospreay versus Sonata, I love this match. I thought it was really funny and cute that Ospreay gets Sonata in a situation where he can get him in a Paradise Lock, except he doesn't know how to do a Paradise Lock because he's not the master of the Paradise Lock, and then all of a sudden Sonata gets Ospreay in the Paradise Lock in the ropes. I thought that was funny. I like the use of Ospreay's hook kicks to lay out Sonata at certain points. And then I did like the finish where he basically does the same finish he had with to take out Shingo at the Best Super Juniors final. He had to hit him with something huge because Sonata is a heavyweight and Ospreay's, he is fighting heavyweights, but he's not there yet. So I thought it was a big win for Ospreay. I thought Sonata. I thought after the match with Sabre, I thought that he was going to get out to a fast start, but it looks like he's going to be just in the pack right now. We'll see what happens from there. Okada versus Sabre. It's pretty much every Okada Sabre match you ever seen, right? It's him holding on to her life through all the classic spots of the Tombstone, the Rainmaker, the drop kick, and is all playing defense against it. And then he, at the end, Sabre got a few pin attempts to look like he could actually put him away, but to no avail. He ends up eating 2 Rainmakers and gets put away. Really good match. I'd probably give it 4 flat. Evil versus Ibushi. This match was a flat-out brawl because Ibushi can't move around as much. Can't really put much weight on it. He can run, which is, in that itself is amazing. But it was more just a lot of brawling. I do like the spot where they drop each other on their heads, which sounds so stupid. They drop each other on their shoulders and their necks, and then they both roll through off the Germans and then no-sell them, and then go from there. It's gigantic meme where Ibushi does it to Evil, and then Evil does it to Ibushi, and Ibushi also no-sells it, and then Ibushi raises up like a, kind of similar to what happened at Wrestle Kingdom this year with Ospreay, where it's like he gets dropped on his head and he rolls up and it's like his head's tilted and turned to the side and looks disfigured, almost like a zombie, and then he continues on wrestling. So I thought it was a big win for Evil, though, even though a lot of it is, he really can't go back and forth. It's just the ankle is such a problem right now, and he exploited it at times. And then the main event, Kenta versus Tanahashi. I always say that, like, nothing really matters that much in a Tanahashi match until the sling blades, the high five, or the sling blades and the dragon screw leg whip start flowing. But then like you're in for like something special, like once he slaps the piss out of somebody. Once Tanahashi started throwing slaps, and then Kenta outpaced him with a slap, like he basically beat him to the punch. It was like, yo, this is crazy. I think two of my favorite moments of this whole week of wrestling have been the Shima and Omega match, and also Kenta Tanahashi, because it's been a while since we had these two guys with these gigantic reputations and names put forth the effort that comes with their names. And it's like, it's nice to see that they, like, not only did they, like, finally fuck Raw, they didn't just fuck Raw, like they touched ovaries, so they're good for them. So yeah, man. That was my thoughts. I thought the two best shows that I saw this week were both the slates of night 2 and night 3 of the G1. Right now is 1:00 or 1:30 a.m. over here. Now that we've wrapped up all the wrestling talk. So night 4 is about to start. I'll watch it sometime on Monday. I'll give you my thoughts, whatever. I'll try to relay that to Rich and Jeremy and Josh for Keepin It Strong Style. So yeah, that's the end of the show. Be sure to rate us on whatever app you're using to listen. Tell the folks about the Social Suplex Podcast Network. Be sure to check out our friends at powerslam.tv, the sponsor for this show. If you're a fan of independent pro wrestling, they have over 5,000 hours of footage from all over the world. You can use the code Social Suplex to get your free month's trial. Don't forget to visit ProWrestlingTees.com/Social Suplex and pick up some official Social Suplex Podcast merchandise. Be sure to check out the other shows on the Social Suplex Podcast. On Sundays, we have One Nation Radio. On Tuesdays, we have Keepin It Strong Style. On Wednesdays, we have the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Podcast. Every other Wednesday, we have Grown Men Watch This Shit. On Thursdays, maybe, we have NXT Then Now Forever. On Fridays, we have Get in the Ring. And on Saturdays, we have All Things Elite. Thanks for listening. Later.